Hello audience, viewer, physics class, Mr. Lima, whomever you may be. My name is Enzo, and this is my physics blunder project. In this video, I'll show you clips that present acts that aren't necessarily normal to everyday physics. Don't worry, don't think about it too much now. I'll show you what I mean. Also, at the end of each clip, I will be giving a conceptual explanation on how the physics is wrong in the situation. I will also be adding mathematical explanations in 3 of these clips. The clip you're seeing right now is from 2 guys on YouTube who make videos on fights between video game characters. They explain and analyze every single aspect and ability of each fighter, so in the end, they can decide who should be the proper winner.
People are still getting sick on Earth, so I guess he kind of forgot about that whole living cure thing, huh?
Shadow can move at hypersonic speeds and survive underwater and in space.
He's even tough enough to survive a fall to the Earth from the moon, and that's one long-ass fall.
Well, it wasn't exactly the moon, but Shadow survived a fall of about 200,000 miles. By the time he hit the ground, he was falling at a rate of over 6 million feet per second.
I feel sorry for whatever was around when he landed. Some guy just walking along there. Oh my God.
Which restrict his access to the Chaos Force to maintain control. Should he remove them, his power increases immensely, but is somewhat uncontrollable and quickly tires him out.
His Chaos power also increases depending on the number of Chaos Emeralds he has. And when he gets 7 of them, he goes super.
Super Shadow is the pinnacle of his powers, receiving a 1000% increase.
He can fly, move near the speed of light, and is totally invincible.
Despite this, Shadow's super form can only last a few
Hopefully, you were paying attention during the video. If you didn't already know, Shadow is a hedgehog created in a laboratory. The man said that when Shadow gets in his super form, he can fly almost at the speed of light. Looking at this conceptually, the amount of work that must be done in order to get such a speed is impossible by any hedgehog, or any human for that matter. So let's look at the math I did to show the work Shadow does. For the sake of simplicity, instead of using a number near the speed of light, I'm going to use the actual speed of light itself, which is 299,792,458 meters per second. To solve for work, I will be equaling work to the kinetic energy, which is K or KE. KE is half mv squared, m being Shadow's mass, v being Shadow's velocity. The velocity in this case is the speed of light. So, after equaling it to that, all I have to do is simple algebra and just plug in the numbers. The final answer results in being 1.569523131 times 10 to the 18th power joules. So, at this point is when you go, oh my god, this is impossible! And you're right. No little hedgehog can produce such a high amount of work. Not even any modern machine today can do such a thing. To begin with, the only thing that could go at the speed of light is something without mass. Basically, it's the same guys as before, but in a different episode, talking about a Street Fighter character called Ryu. Ryu does an uppercut that sends his opponent flying to the height of a freight truck that you can notice in the background.
Well, the Assassin's Fist sure isn't your average McDojo style, because Ryu Shoryuken is an uppercut so powerful, it launches his victim sky high. The Hadouken uses a fighter's willpower to fire a blast of energy and destroy evil things, like waterfalls. And
I thought about this conceptually, and it occurred to me that the impulse of Ryu's punch must be massive, considering that his time of contact is as small as 1 second. Which, by the way, I looked at the video and it seemed relatively 1 second long. Alright, let's get to the math. So, you must be wondering, what does he mean when he said that the time of contact is as small as 1 second? Well, when dealing with impulse and momentum, you can increase the impulse and object experiences by decreasing the time of contact or by increasing the force you apply to the object, which in this case seems like Ryu did a little bit of both. So, momentum, or P, is equal to mv. Impulse is equal to ft, and momentum is equal to impulse. What I will do now is the height at which the man was launched, the acceleration, which is gravity, the mass of the man being punched, t, which is the duration of contact of the punch, and the velocity of the man after being punched. I got the height by getting the average height of a freight truck and the average male human height and subtracted them together to see how high the man went. Gravity is 9.81 meters per second squared. The mass of the man being punched is the mass of an average man, which is 70 kilograms. T, the duration of contact of the punch, is approximately 1 second from looking at the video. And the velocity can be easily solved from using the formula radical 2gh. And after doing some simple algebra, the answer I get is 7 meters per second for the velocity. So now all I need to do is just equal momentum to impulse, mv equals ft, and do algebra again. So after solving for the force, which is 490 newtons, I put it back into the formula of impulse, and I got 490 newton seconds. So now you must think, alright, good, we got the impulse. But I bet you don't know how much that is, do you? So let's put this in terms of G's, or G-force. So 490 newton seconds is translated into 50,000 G's of force. Damn! And damn is exactly right, because the most a human ever resisted, which was John Stapp, was 46 G's, and that was only experienced at less than a second. Humans can only survive certain G-forces depending on the duration of the G-force that is experienced. So this punch would have definitely knocked your head off your body. Alright, so as you watch this clip from the Looney Tunes, I can kill two birds with one stone with this clip, because I can basically say something about freefall and one-dimensional kinematics. When Wile E. Coyote runs off the edge of the cliff, he keeps going on straight, and that already is messing up one-dimensional kinematics because gravity is constantly acting on you. Even if you jump off the cliff, you would immediately start falling. Now that leads me to free fall, which in this case, as he falls at the height of that cliff, by the time he reaches his final velocity at the ground, it will be so high he wouldn't be able to survive, even though he does. Alright, so here we go. To solve for Coyote's final velocity is pretty much the easiest math there is. All I need is the acceleration due to gravity, the time he spends in the air falling, and the height from which he falls from. The acceleration due to gravity is 9.81 meters per second squared, the time he spends falling is 5 seconds, and the height he drops from is 1800 meters. So I used the kinematics equation d equals vft minus half at squared, and from there I did a little bit of algebra to solve for vf, and then after that I did a little bit more algebra and plugged in everything to get the final answer, and the answer is 384.525 meters per second. And with this speed, you know that he won't be alive. He might as well be a splat of blood and organs at the end of that canyon, for all I know. Alright, now last but most definitely not least, we have the movie Wanted. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with this movie. It's a super awesome movie, I don't care what you say. But anyways, argument aside, please pay close attention to the end of this clip when Angelina Jolie shoots in a circle. She does something that defies all laws of physics. Well, not exactly all, but just pay close attention. Alright, so I bet you noticed several things wrong throughout the whole clip, but I'm only focusing on the very end. The bullet Angelina Jolie shoots out of her gun and then just turns around the whole room while shooting through at least 5 guys just defies the laws of physics because, according to projectile motion, gravity is supposed to be constantly acting on the projectile during its line of flight. So, as it flew across the whole room in a circle, by the way, which is also wrong, I don't know how that's even possible. Probably the only way is if you have a magnet constantly next to it, but anyways, since gravity is constantly acting on it, the bullet should have been slowly dropping its trajectory as it makes the circle, so not every guy would have been shot in the head. And then even with that, I'm going to add one more little topic right here, Mr. Lima. And I'm going to say that also it would have stopped at least by the third man after going through his head due to the immense amount of friction that the skulls causes and slow down the bullet.